Welcome, beautiful spirits, to the Joy Corner. I'm Carol DeChaine, your intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters. Today, the I Am Affirmation is I forgive myself for my part in anything I haven't released, which means that if you haven't gotten through your forgiveness exercise, maybe there's something that's happened, a situation or a person that you maybe haven't forgiven yet, or that you haven't released. Perhaps you think you've forgiven, but you don't feel like you've released the situation or the person. Realize that there might be a section of that you need to release your forgiveness of yourself. And sometimes we are really hard on ourselves and we have trouble forgiving ourselves for things. And other times we don't think we had anything to do with a person or situation that feels like it was wrong and that they did us wrong. But perhaps we stayed too long. Perhaps we didn't speak our truth. So perhaps in a way we do need to forgive ourselves for a way that we acted or didn't react when we thought we should have. So if you think you don't need to forgive yourself for a certain situation, try this anyway, because even if you have a tiny bit of resistance to this, you probably have some forgiveness to go through. It's not that we were bad or we were wrong, it's just that there's some forgiveness that we need to work on. So that's what I'm talking about today. That little bit, or maybe a lot, of forgiveness of ourselves for whatever we did or didn't do, or said or didn't say. So today's affirmation again is I forgive myself for my part in anything I haven't released. When we say these affirmations, I ask you to do it 3 or 4 times, once a day, maybe twice if you have the time, only enough to feel it. When you say it, you feel it at depth as though it's your reality right this moment, as though you have already forgiven yourself. So you look at this feeling and you go, I forgive myself. And then you go, yeah, I do. It's gone. Because you want to see what it feels like to have this happen and this be real. So today it's, I forgive myself for my part in anything that I haven't released with any situation or any person. So take a breath and then say, I forgive myself for my part in anything I haven't released. And take a breath and feel it deeply in every part of every cell of your body, knowing that this is your truth right now, that you are forgiving yourself and you have already forgiven yourself. Feel it deeply. And then breathe again when you're ready and repeat it again. I forgive myself for my part in anything that I haven't released. Breathe it in and feel it like it's true. I do. I forgive myself for anything that I'm still holding on to. Perhaps you want to change that affirmation to, instead of anything I haven't released, to anything I'm still holding on to. And you can think of a specific time when you're doing this if you like, specific person. And one last time, I forgive myself for my part in anything I haven't released. Feel that as your truth. Feel that as your reality in every cell of your being. I forgive myself. And like I said, you may want to think about a specific instance or a specific person when you do this, because that way you can focus in on that thing. And so many times we go, I didn't do anything wrong, like I said before. And that's perfectly okay to feel that way. And it may be true. And yet, you still are feeling like there's something you can't let go of, and maybe you just are missing a tiny little piece of that puzzle. Maybe you've even forgiven the other person, forgiven whatever you need to forgive to get through a certain situation, but it still bugs you. Try this, because if you haven't forgiven yourself for whatever little tiny part you may have had in it, or big part, perhaps that's what you need to just be free, to let it go, to realize that, hey, this indeed isn't important to me anymore. I can release this. I can stop holding on to this person and this incident with this person, especially If you keep bringing it up over and over to people, this person did me wrong. This person didn't, they said they were going to buy something from me and then they took it and only gave me part of the money. This person is this way. This person did that to me. And it's repeated over and over and over in your head. Did you forgive the other person? Well, maybe you think you did. Or even if you didn't, start, if you can't forgive them, with forgiving yourself for your part in it. Start with, I forgive myself for allowing that to happen. I forgive myself for not speaking up when something happened. I forgive myself for maybe yelling and screaming when that happened because it didn't make the matter any better. Whatever it may be, forgive yourself. Because even though we may think we have nothing to forgive ourselves for, and ultimately we're right, if we're holding on to something, we do. We need to voice that and get to that subconscious and say, hey, you, I'm forgiving myself, so you better get on board. Stop holding on to this and worrying it like a dog with a bone where they're going, I can't let it go. I have to finish it. I have to hold on to this and really hold it and hold it. When it only makes you feel all kind of in knots inside. And it doesn't make you feel free or make you have joy. It just makes you tense and worry or angry or whatever feeling it may come from that. So if you feel like you can't forgive the other person or situation, start with yourself. Or if you thought you already had forgiven the other person or situation, then if it's still hanging on, try that last little piece. Try forgiving yourself for whatever part that you played in whatever it is that's bugging you. You'll find that your subconscious will get right on board at some point in the near future, if not immediately, and say, oh, I forgive myself. And then ideas might come forward of, well, but what about this? And what about that? And you can say, hey, no, it's okay. I learned my lesson, or I learned that next time I need to speak up, or I need to not speak up, or whatever it may be, maybe speak up in a healthier way. You've learned what you need to learn. If it comes up and you look at it and you go, okay, I see what I did. I see what it was that I could have done better. Forget them. I can't control them. What can they do for me to make me have an easier time next time something similar comes up? And so I can let go of that past thing. It's just your subconscious mind going, yoo-hoo, there's something you need to look at. Say thank you, because I'm telling you this. Don't get mad at me. So you don't want to get mad at your subconscious mind or resist that feeling that maybe you're not forgiving yourself or anything else. You're angry at something. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Go, yeah, okay, there's an issue. Well, if there's an issue, then address it. Be happy that you're aware of that issue, that you can do something about it instead of just fighting, going, I'm worried about this, or I hate this person, or this, how could they do that to me? It just sucks you dry and takes away your power so that you feel like they had more power over you. They chose the situation and you didn't. When you usually have choices, well, you always have choices. If you can get away somehow, if it's an issue, or you can react differently to an issue and to the way somebody's working with you. And you may find that when you forgive yourself, you go, ah, and if it happens again, whatever that issue or that person might say something similar, you may react totally different and throw them off because you'll be healed and you won't need to respond in the same way that you did before. You won't need to not speak up if you didn't. You'll just be able to say, that's painful. It hurts when you say things like that. It's not acceptable. And if you can't be nicer to me, then you can't be my friend. And they go, what? What? Because maybe you could always be walked on before. But if you do it with love and with firmness, perhaps that's what comes to you that is your lesson. But whatever it may be, listen. Because when you forgive yourself, all sorts of ideas, first worries and concerns on how you can do it and what you can do better may show up. But they're just learning lessons. They're things you can go, I got this time. Allow yourself to forgive yourself. Because there really is nothing to forgive unless we think there is. Because we are beautiful spirits. And again, that last affirmation is, I forgive myself for my part in anything that I haven't released. Thank you for joining me here today. Until next week, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on my bell notification if you want to know the next time that a video is posted. I'm Carol DeChaine. I'm an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and also an energy light worker. You can reach me at connecttojoy.com. That's connect, the number 2, joy.com. Email me at carol@connecttojoy.com or look me up if you want to hear longer podcasts at the Connect to Joy podcast. Connect, the number 2, joy. Until next week, thank you again for joining me. You are more than you know. You are sweeter, lovelier, more loving, and more lovable than you'll ever give yourself credit for. But know that I see that in you.